Okay, good morning everyone. I'm doing incline treadmill walking and I want to just do part 2 to this Grant fitness journey part 2. My heart rate's like over 110, so I'm gonna be a little out of breath. I'm gonna try and keep this kind of short, but I wanted to finish up from yesterday. If this sound quality sucks, and we'll redo it. I think I'm talking through my microphone. Anyway, I left off. I'm like 10 years old, playing junior Maroons football. I'm like crushing kids, learning how to run, do calisthenics, that kind of stuff. Go to junior high, you know, you hit puberty, you grow a little bit. I actually kind of leaned out and I could run, which was cool. Always played baseball. I mentioned in the last video, you know, my dad had wanted me to play basketball as like an 8-year-old, 10-year-old, and I quit. Well, I came back in junior high in 8th grade and actually made the team somehow. And I always played basketball in the neighborhood. But big shout out to my best friend, Ryan Dexter. His dad was a basketball coach at Moline, so we had access to, you know, balls in the gym, and, you know, we really would play in our driveways all the time. So I developed a little bit of some skills. I've always jumped off my right foot, which led me to use my left hand, which was kind of my secret weapon. But I was right-handed, so I was like backwards. I should have been left-handed. Anyway, I could do left-handed layups and hook shots and all that crap, and people weren't really expecting it. So played basketball as an 8th grader, really enjoyed it. Of course, continued to play football. Then as a freshman in high school, I got introduced to weight training for the first time. Big shout out to Coach Gorgel, Kevin Gorgel over there at Moline. He's still there. He was my first strength coach. And I really fell in love with the idea of getting stronger and bigger for football. And so played my freshman year. I really just kind of tore it up as a football player. Then I made the basketball team as a freshman, but I had to decide, do I want to lift weights or do I want to go play basketball? And I decided I wanted to go lift weights and focus on football and getting stronger. And so that's, as a 14-year-old, that's what I decided to do, is not play basketball and to go to the weight room. And that's really where my formal, you know, my first couple cycles of weight training in the football off season started. I can remember going to the Davenport Athletic Club probably around the same kind of time, and like leg pressing really heavy and just kind of having like a general leg strength that was better than my friends. Because again, at this point I'm weighing like 200 pounds, you know, as a 14, 15-year-old. So I did have some general leg strength that was better than other kids. But anyway, then that freshman year, sophomore year, really got into weight training. I can remember squatting like 300 pounds, bench pressing, you know, 200, 225 pounds, that kind of thing. But that career kind of continued there as a high school kid through football. It was hard to gain strength during football season or when you were really conditioning hard. So it would kind of be like, you know, you get strong during the off season, then you get real beat up during the end season, maybe not train a lot, train limited. So I knew I wanted to go play in college because I really enjoyed football and I had a pretty good high school career. So I knew I had to kind of take it to another level. So as a senior in high school, I started to just research, you know, because I wasn't going to be under the guidelines of my high school training program anymore. So it's like, what am I gonna do? And I remember there was kind of like this squat routine. It was like an 8-week thing, and the volume was just like insane for what, because I'd been accustomed to like 3 sets of 5, ascending. You know, we didn't really deadlift, did power cleans, kind of the same thing for bench. And so I remember finding that first high volume squat routine, and I did it. It was like, good God, like I'm sore. This is insane. And I really kind of beat myself down with volume probably too early as an 18-year-old. And I had a ton of back pain and injuries. My technique was real poor. So anyway, it was a good experience in high school. Probably could have been better with, you know, more planning and education and formal training into technique. But anyway, went to college, went to Truman State, and had a big turning point my freshman year because I tore my ACL playing basketball right after training camp ended. And it kind of ended my football career early. But I didn't know my ACL was torn for a while, so I tried to rehab myself, and they were kind of just like, oh, your knee's swollen or whatever, just kind of deal with it. So I went through that whole first season with a torn ACL, trying to keep up, and I ended up having surgery in November. And I bring this up in the story because after that, at that point, having that surgery, that was the worst thing that had ever happened to me in my life. It was like I lost my leg. There were just like two bones sitting down there, and I'm taking Percocet and throwing up and trying to study, and just sucked. I lost about 20 pounds lean mass through the surgery, and I really had to take it upon myself to learn, how am I going to rebuild this body? Not necessarily in my goals changed, because I was like, screw football. I just want to walk and not be crippled and get this leg better. And that may sound a little bit dramatic, but that's how I felt. And so it got me into studying kinesiology, to studying hip mobility and mechanics, knee mechanics, structure of the knee. And it really got me interested in rehab and training philosophy. And I took it upon myself to rebuild my leg. And I found that, if I trained relatively heavy through leg pressing, and I started low bar squatting because I had a patellar tendon graft, so I couldn't load the anterior portion of my knee all that well in the beginning, that, it felt really good if I did that leg training. And I really haven't stopped since then. So, I was 19, 20. And at that point, I'd work 4 to 6 hours a day on knee rehab. It took me probably 6 months to get that reasonable.